So paying attention to your inhales and your exhales, where they rise and fall along your midline. Are you breathing into your chest? Are you breathing into your lungs or your belly? And then I want you to take one hand and place it on your belly. Go ahead and exhale all of the air out of your lungs. And then on your next inhale, you're going to send your breath all the way down to your belly, feeling it rise. Exhale, allow your belly to fall. Take another deep breath in, sending that breath all the way down to your belly. And exhale, allow your belly to fall. One more time, deep breath in. And exhale, belly falls. Moving through that at your own pace for a few breaths. And whenever your thoughts start to wander, just keep coming back to your inhales and your exhales. Inhale, belly rise. Exhale, belly falls. Inhale, belly rise. Exhale, belly falls. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Allowing your breathing to regulate. Coming back into the space. And when you're ready, gently fluttering your eyes open, finding some gentle movement by rolling the neck. And then just coming back to center. I want to give you guys just a minute to kind of come out of that. Maybe rolling your shoulders back if you need to, or forward. But even if you don't realize it, focusing on one thing, even if that's just your breath, is meditation. So this very simple thought of focusing on inhale and exhale and just continuously coming back to that is a very simple meditation that you can do right now, especially in this really challenging time when we find our thoughts wandering and thinking about so many different things. One constant that we always have is our breath that we can always come back to. So I just want you guys to kind of keep that in mind as we kind of move through this workshop. But part of the reason why your breath is so important is because your breath activates your parasympathetic nervous system. So there is the autonomic nervous system, and it's responsible for, I'm going to read this from the workbook. I'm going to read just a couple of parts, but we're going to kind of talk through what the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system are. But the autonomic nervous system is responsible for managing unconscious elements of our body, like heart rate and digestion, and altering those elements in response to stressors in our environment. So the two parts of the autonomic nervous system are the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is our fight or flight response. It triggers that in us to defend ourselves or flee from dangerous situations. Where that nervous system gets its energy from is it pulls it from the parasympathetic nervous system, which our parasympathetic nervous system is it's known as our rest and digest response. When the body's under stress, the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in and allows our body to rest. So when we feel stressors in our environment, then our body will pull energy from our parasympathetic nervous system to activate the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight. So what triggers our fight or flight response is or what activates, what stressors are in the environment. And this was pre-coronavirus that we put this workbook together, but I thought it was really interesting, and you guys can read through this in your own time, but I thought it was really interesting how the number one stressor, even before all of this, was work, followed by, the number one stressor is the future of the nation. So even before everything was happening around the world, that was one of the number one stressors for a lot of people, and then closely followed by money and work. So those things and where they lie in our parameters is what activates our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight. So what we want to try and do is redirect that energy towards our parasympathetic nervous system, which gives us the opportunity to rest. So I did want to read one quote as well because I thought it was really impactful. But Chris Carr, author and health nut extraordinaire, said, if you don't think your anxiety, depression, sadness, and stress impact your physical health, think again. All of these emotions trigger chemical reactions in your body, which can lead to inflammation and a weakened immune system. So learn how to cope. There will always be dark days, but if stress is all around us all the time, what can we do to learn to cope? How do we navigate the dark days and stressful situations? We activate our dear friend, the parasympathetic nervous system. And the easiest way to do that is by getting quiet, calming the mind, and focusing on our breath. So in short, meditation. So that's kind of what we're gonna talk through through the rest of the workshop. Does anyone have any questions so far about the parasympathetic nervous system and how we're going to tap into that?
I'd like to tap in about the sympathetic nervous system. Not only the stressors that are around us, right? So we're watching all this crazy stuff at home right now. I know you're at home watching that crazy ass, can I cut? Yeah, I'm sorry. The crazy Tiger King and all of that stuff, right? So movies also put you in that state of mind because our bodies don't know the difference. So, I mean, be mindful of that also when we're watching things like How to Get Away with Murder and our body is tensing up. Our body does not know the difference of that and something that may be a financial stressor or, you know, the coronavirus and what's happening. So those are things also that, you know, bring stress into our lives as well, unknowingly.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions or comments before we move on? I just want to make sure. Okay. So when we talk about stress, we also want to try and figure out where the source of that stress is coming from. So one of the activities in the next page of the workbook is called the circle of life. We do this exercise at every single workshop that we do. It's like a TRILUNA staple, I feel like. And we do it because it changes on a regular basis. So it's not going to look the same each time, but essentially it talks about balance and what balance looks like. So we don't necessarily believe balance is always half and half or even. You could be holding a stack of plates in one hand and then leaning completely over to the other side and still standing upright. So you're still balanced. It may not be even, but it's still balanced. So this circle of life exercise is designed to help us to try to figure out how our life looks in terms of balance and where we're prioritizing things and if we want to shift things around. So that's why it's never always the same. That's why we do it all the time, because it is an exercise that changes with you. So we want to give you guys an opportunity to, Ashley, did you have anything to mention about the circle of life as well?
No, I think you covered it. Yeah, like there's no such thing as balance. As much as we want to think, you know, balance is, you know, there is a sense of balance, but it's not the scale of this. You may be leaning one way and then the other. So yeah, I agree with you completely on that. So yeah, let's jump right into the activity.
Yeah, so if you don't have the workbook printed, you can actually just kind of draw this out in your journal as well. So that works too. And you can even create your own categories. So you don't have to go with the categories that we have placed here. You can write whatever is important to you or a category that you're focusing on in your life right now. But what you want to do is you want to place a dot um, where you feel like this lies. So the closer you are to the center, the less balanced you feel like that area is. So the more where you would put the dot further out, you would feel like that area would be pretty balanced in your life. So you'll do that and then you'll connect all of the dots and then we'll kind of talk about what it looks like and we can walk through it. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, we'll give you guys just a few minutes for that.
And if you don't have, I don't know if you can see that, but the categories that we have it, if you're drawing that out, we have a spiritual section, creativity, finances, career. Liz just sent it. Physical activity, home cooking, social life, fun, joy, and travel. I just kind of want to speak on this while you guys are doing this activity as far as stress goes. Stress stores in our body a lot of times, and we carry a lot more stress in our body than we know. That's why a lot of us have migraines or, you know, our hips are tight or things like that. Be mindful and intentional of, you know, where maybe even your hands direct you to feel on something, or if you feel like you keep moving the neck, I mean, maybe those are areas that your body is holding stress. If our hips, our thighs, our lower back, our neck, and our shoulders are the main places where we carry stress in our body. So being mindful of that and finding movement or finding a release of how to get that stress out of the body, to release that.
We'll give you guys just another minute or two. Okay. So with the connection of the dots, you can kind of take a look at it and see what areas you feel like are not balanced for you and where you want to spend some more time. Um, I will share something that I thought was interesting about mine is I feel like in comparison to a lot of other times that I've done this exercise, my dots are a lot closer to the center right now. So I'm feeling like there's a lot of things that for me personally feel a little out of balance right now. And I know that there's a lot going on in everyone's lives and in the world right now. But it's to me, it's always interesting to see this on paper and to see exactly where I feel like I need to put a little more attention or try and figure out how to make things a little more balanced. Does anyone else have anything that they noticed about theirs that they want to share? You don't have to, but just if you wanted to.
Sure, I'll share. So from just the current state of things, I thought that all of my dots were going to be in the middle, but I was pleased to see that I had a couple high points. And I'm realizing that I can use those high points to feel a little better about the other points that are lower.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's what we were talking about when we're saying balance doesn't always look even. You could be like far out on one side of the circle and a little closer in on the other side, but that's okay at this moment. That may look like balance. Thank you for sharing, Lonnie.
I
Was it
definitely noticed for myself when I did this activity, and I'm sorry, whoever I cut off. The first, like normally when I do this activity, the creativity, the career, like the joy, and all of that is normally the highest points. But the things that I feel like I lack at, like because I'm so busy, the home cooking, the spiritual, the physical activity, those are actually the higher points right now because I'm kind of not forced, but I'm kind of in a position where I'm creating time for all of that. And I think right now that just goes to show us that we have to be grateful for the time that we have right now to be able to dip into some of those areas that we normally lack, that most of the time in our life that we lack.
Yeah,
Anyone else?
absolutely.
Liz
Well,
second my.
I'll say
sorry.
something.
I feel like I'm talking over you.
So I think I definitely agree with what Ashley said about kind of having time for the things that maybe weren't as far to the outside of the circle as we did last time. I think also being at home and having limited resources in some ways makes us a bit more creative in how we redefine these different areas. So for instance, like physical activity was something that like I pictured that to be like going to the gym every day and like being very active at the gym. But right now it's looking like moving, taking a walk outside, or like going for a workout in my living room. And that also is still activity. So I've had to kind of redefine these categories in a way that makes sense for me at the particular situation that we're in, and trying to kind of see how that kind of works out in the overall picture of how I feel in this moment. So I think that's been a nice change, because I've given myself a bit more grace to be like, this is where I'm at, and this is how I can demonstrate that in my life without having all of these different like definitions of what it was supposed to be before this, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It definitely makes sense. And you said something right there that I definitely want to touch on, that about giving yourself grace, right? So we look at this oftentimes, and a sense of intimidation maybe sits in, oh, I may be lacking in this area, or I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing this. And that, again, that anxiety, that stress creeps in, and it creeps in the form of whatever in our bodies, creating migraines or whatever else. Give yourself space to meet yourself where you are. It's very important to understand that if you feel like you're going to tackle all of these things all at once, and because everything is slowed down, you're kidding yourself, and you're just going to cause more stress on yourself. So give yourself grace, like Grace said. Give yourself space to be able to meet yourself where you truly are right now.
Yeah, I think that's so important, because where we are right now may not look like where we were, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So we have to be able to give ourselves some grace in that, and know that we're still going to be able to work through this, using the tools that we have. But I love that. Grace.
All right.
Was there anything that stood out to anyone else? Hello. Oh my gosh, look at all these people in here. Was there anything that stood out to anyone else that they want to share? Well, we appreciate you guys for sharing. Keep in mind, this is an exercise, like I said earlier, that you can continue to come back to. And you can do this again next week. You can do it tomorrow again if you want. It's just a tool that you can utilize to see where you are in terms of balance, and where you want to focus some energy, and or as Grace said, kind of redefining what one of these categories may look like to you in your current state. So, Ashley, did you want to um, tag on to anything else about the circle of life before we move on to?
No, just like I said, meet yourself where you are.
Okay. So the other thing that we want to talk about in terms of managing stress and what that looks like is also journaling. So we're not going to do this journaling exercise in this workshop tonight, but this is definitely something that you can take with you as kind of a token, or a little bit of I don't want to call it homework, but it's a tool that you can utilize in the coming weeks and months. But setting aside time for yourself to journal is a great way to help manage stress. So, journaling and writing things down is a form of releasing. So, when you're journaling, and it's also a great way to kind of help you process through what your stressors are in your current environment. And so, this journaling exercise is a really great way to kind of think about what those are and how to work through them. So, setting aside time for journaling is just another really important tool that you can utilize for managing stress, recognizing it, and actually processing it. Are there any questions about journaling or? what that looks like in terms of setting aside time for it?
I have a question. I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys can hear me. So sometimes, like, I find myself pretty stressed, and I know that journaling helps, but sometimes you don't necessarily know what to journal or what to write. So, like, what do you do when you know that there's, like, you need to get something out, but you're not really sure what that is? How do you, like, still address it in a way to where you can kind of write your thoughts out, but you don't really understand or know what your thoughts and feelings are at that time?
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. And I know Elizabeth, I know that she would have some really great tips and tricks on this, so I would love to defer to her and kind of get you some tricks for that.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth. This is Nala. We're hanging out together for this. But I absolutely think that's an incredible question. And I'm really glad you asked, because I think we forget to ask that. And we have a lot of different ways that we use that. We can go more in depth in another conversation. But one of the things I really love is to get there's like journals that have prompts already in them. And so sometimes, like, the thing you have to do is just get going, right? Once you get going, it's just like word vomit. You can get it all out, but sometimes the process of initially starting can be really difficult. I have a journal actually that my boyfriend's sister gave me called "The Grass is Green Enough," and it's like a positivity journal, and it's like every day there's a different prompt. So you can use something like that. You can also like Google, journaling prompts for self-care. I'm sure you'll find some. We'll put some up at the end of this. I think there's some in that workbook too that
There's
we're
some,
going to use.
in the resources.
Yeah. So we'll link to some of the ones that we use and really like, but that's a great question. I think there's a lot of different ways to do that. You can also just like you can take 3 different sets or categories. One that's like a noun, one that's a verb, and something that you deal with every day. So it can be like a noun can be something general, verb, run, jump, play, whatever, and then home, like anything from that circle of life. And then you can just dump them out and just pick one from each pile and see if that sentence gets you going. Once you started, you're going to be fine. But that's usually how I try and kickstart it if I'm feeling really stuck.
Okay, thank you. That is helpful. And with that, sometimes you have so much in your head that you don't even really know what to even start with, because you could be there all day too. So that does help kind of to, I guess, silo it, so to speak, so that you can, write what you may be feeling, but then also I'm very strict, I guess, organized. So that helps to kind of organize my thoughts. So that is helpful.
Yeah, great. And you can also have like a dream journal where you write your dreams down, but you can also have that same theory for anything that you have going on, goals, stresses. Like you can have self-made prompts that you try and keep up with so that you can silo that a little bit better.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. That was awesome. And thank you, Liz, for chiming in. I could see that she had such a great response, so I wanted to ask for her support. Ashley, was there anything you wanted to add as well?
No, I was going to call Liz right on in.
Liz is our resident journaling expert.
Absolutely. And by the way, if you don't know who Elizabeth is, she is the other co-founder of TRILUNA. I didn't introduce her in the beginning, and I'm sorry. So yeah, the journaling part, Casey?
Yes.
Anything else?
No, I mean, I think that was a really fantastic question in terms of prompts, because I do think that sometimes we talk about journaling and we're like, oh yeah, like, here's you can just start journaling, but we do have this exercise that can get you going in terms of journaling for stress management. But just in general, prompts are such a great way to kind of kickstart that and get it started. But I love what Liz said, and I hadn't even thought about this, of just taking the categories of the circle of life exercise. So,
All right. Well, this is where we move into the meditation portion. and why meditation is such a powerful tool. And I know all of you are thinking, but I can't meditate, I can't. But I have news for you. You already meditate with a lot of things that you do. So we're going to talk through this. I will not read to you because that's like, it's like one of my least favorite things to do ever. And you'll have this. This will be something for you to take away later on and, use as a prompt. But what I will say about meditation is that meditation provides us clarity, and it provides us a sense of being present in the moment, taking us out of the subconscious mind, bringing us into, no, not taking us out of the subconscious mind, bringing us into the subconscious mind and allowing us to just kind of be in a space of peace. Like Casey said, the breathing technique that we did at the beginning of the workshop is a simple meditation. A lot of things that we do, like you have your traditional, I'm going to say traditional yoga meditation, where you may sit in silence and kind of turn off, but that may look different. While you're sitting in silence, you may be focusing on your breath, different, breathing techniques that you may be doing. You may be actually praying. That's a form of meditation. And something known as a mantra, which is a single word or maybe even a phrase that you repeat over in your head to get you single focused again. So what I want to say about meditation is don't overthink it. One of our trainers, when we did our yoga teacher training, she said, meditation is like training a dog, right? Like sometimes you're going to get it, sometimes you're not. I've been doing yoga for 10 years, and I can tell you right now, like there's sometimes that I get it, and there's sometimes that I can't. I can't just turn it on. And if we all had the ability to turn it on, let me tell you, we would never be stressed out at all. So again, allow yourself space when you're practicing or finding whatever form of meditation that is for you. What I will say is there's other forms of meditation that we don't often think about. One of my favorite actresses, Tracee Ellis Ross, she did a podcast with Oprah's Masterclass, and she talked about how she finds soup a form of meditation for her. And I thought about that, and I mean, it is. Think about it. And she broke it down even like soup is the only food that we can't hurry up and eat, right? We can't rush through it. We have to sit down. We have to be intentional of every bite because it's hot. It's savory. You want to take in the taste and things like that. So think about things like that. Like when you eat your soup, that can maybe be a form of meditation for you. Reading a book, working puzzles, things that kind of take us out of the everyday that we normally don't do. I really gotten into, since this whole quarantine thing, like I've gotten into crossword puzzles. Like it's my jam now. Do people still say jam? I'm trying to be politically correct down here. So like just things like that kind of take you out of the things that bring us stress. So again, cooking is a form of meditation. I know Kiva just put that on there, but I know for Liz, like this is like her biggest like form of meditation. I know when she's stressed out because I get like all the cupcakes and all these gourmet salads and soups and things, and it's just great. My life is great. I mean, not that she's stressed out, but all the things that come with it because she does cook a lot. So think about that. And again, just like we said with attacking all of the areas of the circle of life, allow yourself space. Allow yourself to meet yourself where you are in your practice of meditation. When we end this, we'll end with another meditation that I'll lead you out with. But we like to always make sure that all of our meditations are set up for you to be able to take with you after the fact. You can find 2 of our meditations on our podcast. Y'all saw how I slid that in there. A podcast, You're Excused. We have 2 meditations on there right now. We have a 3-part breathing, and then we have a guided, is it guided? I was going to say guided light, but that's a soap opera, right? I don't know, but they're on there. So just, again, give yourself space and meet yourself where you are in the form of meditation. So we'll move on. Does anybody want to say anything about meditation before we move on to some tips and tricks? No?
I would like to say, like, I always love sharing the fact, and I'm so glad that you mentioned it, Ashley, that like meditation doesn't have to look like sitting down for, even, 20 minutes a day, and, breathing. It can just be, like you said, it can be cooking. It can be while I have a coloring book that I use, and I meditate while I color. So it's just the act of like being present in that moment, being fully there, and what that looks like. So you can be meditating while you're doing the dishes. So I think that's one thing that I always love sharing with people, because I think sometimes there's this, vision or idea that meditation has to be sitting on a pillow, legs crossed, palms facing up, kind of thing. And it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah. It does
Thank
not.
y'all for that, because I didn't until this moment really just realize that cooking is my meditation. That's why I guess now I like for nobody to be in the kitchen when I cook, because it's like that's my me time. So thank you all for that.
Kiva, I want to jump in because I can absolutely, cooking is mine too. And it's, as we've been in quarantine and my stress levels have been higher than normal, I've been learning to do new things and more labor intensive things. So I've been like making my own sourdough and making my own noodles from scratch for pasta, like things that take a lot of time and take a lot of concentration. Because normally I'll like cook and I'll listen to a podcast and I'll clean the kitchen and I have to do like 1,000 things at once. It's the way my brain is wired. But when I'm doing something like bread or noodles, it takes so much of my concentrated effort that it really becomes meditative for me. So quick tip for now is learn to cook something really labor intensive, and hopefully it's not more stressful than relaxing.
Look out for my bread pictures, Ashley.
I know. She's going to do it. And by the way, is a wonderful cook as well. You can follow her at Kiva's Kitchen on Instagram. Right there, y'all see what I'm doing. And let me just say this: both of these women come from cooking backgrounds, all right? And don't feel like don't freak out. You don't have to make the bread or anything like that. It can start with a box cake, okay? Because that takes time and that takes, steps, and you have to, again, meet yourself where you are. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks, that you can take away with you on this. Number one, write about gratitude. I think right now we are so like everything that's going around, we're thinking about all the bad, but there's small miracles that happen for us each and every single day that we often overlook. So being intentional about just the small little things. I mean, isn't it great that we can be on here together, that we can talk about stress, that we can continue to build community and come together? This right here is a miracle and a blessing in itself. So being grateful for those things and write it down, like each night or each morning before you start your day. Give yourself those 3 big breaths and then write down 3 things that you're grateful for, either in the night or the morning. Finding a form of meditation daily. Like we said earlier, any forms of meditation. If you want to eat soup every day, then eat soup every day at lunch, and that's your time for meditation. Practice your breathing. This is so important. And I know you're thinking, my breathing, what? The next time something stresses you out, the next time you're in traffic, if somebody cuts you off, the first thing we do is we hold our breath, we tense up, we send the body back into that sympathetic nervous system, that fight, flight. So be mindful of that. Use your breath. Casey gave a wonderful breathing exercise at the beginning, so remembering that. This is a good one. Put down the phone. I think I'm pretty good at this one. Just put it up. Like, have boundaries for yourself. Boundaries. And it's okay to be selfish with your time. And the people around you will understand that. And you don't have to explain, and you don't have to, say I'm sorry for anything, but just put the phone up, create some space for yourself. And it's more important now than ever because it's everywhere. And the last one, we're not doctors. We just come from, healing backgrounds, health coaching backgrounds. But if you need professional help, get professional help. We can only give tips and tricks and guide you through the trainings that we've had. But if it's something serious and something that just needs special attention to, then get the help that you need. Liz, can you talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I was actually just looking at the poll that we have, and we asked, how would you rate your stress levels? 1 being fine and 5 being decidedly not fine. It's anonymous, but we have quite a few in here that are at a 4 and a 5 because we are going through something really extraordinarily challenging, and the stress is extraordinarily high right now. And I have been in and out of therapy for basically my entire life for a variety of reasons, starting with anxiety and eating disorders in high school all the way up until now, when I do everything from relationship counseling to sex counseling to continuing my eating disorder recovery. And I just think it's really important to have an objective person that you can speak to about how hard things can be sometimes. And it is expensive, and I think that's something to be considered, but there are a lot of people who do sliding scale. There's a few in Nashville. If you want to reach out to me directly, if you're really struggling, I'm happy to send you those resources. There's also a lot of teleconferencing and teletherapy right now that's happening. That's either through the video chat or through texting, and it can be really, really powerful. And you don't have to do this alone. There's absolutely zero shame in admitting that our bodies are not designed to handle this amount of stress. So get the help you need, ask for the help you need. The bravest thing that you can do is say, I need some help. Even if it just starts with asking your friend or asking us or asking somebody who might have resources, just reaching out is the first step, and it can be the most important. So we just encourage you to seek the help you need.
Casey, you want to say anything?
Yeah, actually, I did. I think that with these tips and tricks are amazing, by the way. But I think that with the getting the help you need right now, because there is this collective need for help or a community need for help, there's some resources where help is a little more affordable or even free. So I know I've seen something. I will get that information so that we can send that out in regards to where you guys can look to find some of those resources. But don't be afraid to ask. If you need something, definitely don't be afraid to ask. It doesn't, there was a comment that came through that said asking doesn't make you weak, and it doesn't. It's, I think, one of the bravest things that you can do. So if you guys have questions, you can always reach out to us at TRILUNA, and we'll definitely try to get you pointed in the right direction in terms of resources. But yeah, it's definitely really important. So.
And if this is, and thank you for saying that, Casey, and if this is your first time to a TRILUNA event, this is what we do, right? We create these, we like to call them sister circles. I mean, the men, they can come, but, we create these sister circles, and we want to have these conversations because these conversations are not being had in our community. So we want to, again, create a safe space for everyone can talk freely about that. these things that are going on, and where we can share these resources to you. So again, like Casey said, if something resonated with you and we can be of a resource to you, please feel free to reach out to any of us at any time. Casey?
Oh, sorry. Yes. I was so excited about us talking about everything, the tips and tricks. But like we were saying, in terms of resources, you do have this guide at the back of your workbook, but there's definitely some books that you can utilize to help you with stress management. There's a few websites and apps that are listed there as well. And then there's some sources from where we got the quotes and things like that in the workbook. But check out some of these books. I mean, we have time now, so we have an opportunity to expand our mind and utilize these tools. So Yoga, Mind, and Body is actually one of my favorites. Some of these we actually read for our teacher training program, which they're pretty familiar. And then there's the websites and the apps too. So does anyone have any apps or any other resources that they're using right now that they want to share? You can drop it in the comments or let us know.
I want to say something. I use an app called UCLA Mindful. It's free. Sometimes it's a little dry, but it has some really good kind of calming, relaxing, like 20-minute meditations. So I've been using that a lot. So that's a free one for people that would like it. And it's from the college UCLA. So they're like small podcasts.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. And you said it's called UCLA Calming?
Mindful.
UCLA Mindful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me make sure I'm telling you right.
Okay.
Yeah, UCLA Mindful.
Okay. That's awesome.
Some of you guys know, but I'm a nurse and I use deep breathing all the time at work because that's how I get through my day. And having to wear these masks is like the worst thing on planet Earth, with glasses and a mask, where I'm like, fogging up every second. So Ashley, I liked your idea of a mantra. So I'm going to need to come up with some type of mantra to get me through the day so I can just say that instead of do some deep breathing, because I need to kind of change up what I do, I think.
Well, just let me know. I have mantras in my back pocket for you. And I just want to personally say thank you for what you're doing. I've been seeing your post, and we are truly grateful for you and the work you're doing right now for our community.
Thanks. Just trying to get through it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amanda. I was going to say the same thing. And if there's anyone else in here this evening that works in the healthcare field, thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you're doing.
All right. Well, we will, Casey, did you want to say anything before I was about to roll?
No, I think I can pass it on over to you and you can close us out.
Well, really quickly, if anybody isn't reading the chat right now, people are dropping some really good resources and a lot of them in there. So if you don't know how to see the chat, or if you're having trouble with that, let us know and we'll figure it out for you. Okay.
And just so everyone knows, we're going to end with a meditation, a guided meditation. But before we get into that, normally after my meditations, I like you to just go and take this piece of Zen with you. So I'll thank you and everything at the end, and feel free to log off. But I will say this because I'm the salesperson of our team. We have a workshop on Friday. We have a trauma sensitive yoga workshop. It's half workshop, half yoga. So this is one of our most popular workshops. If you are like trauma, it's a lot of trauma going on right now. And this is, I think these types of workshops creating these spaces for us to talk about this is a form of release for us. So if you're interested, we'll be doing that, and we'll be releasing the rest of our April calendar next week. So make sure that you follow us on Instagram at TRILUNA_wellness. Also follow us on Facebook, and just check out our website and see all the, we got some pretty cool free resources on there. And we have, we'll be bringing the Mind Body Magic Festival back this year. So yay. So now that my sales pitch is over, I want you to, you can choose to keep your screens on, you can turn them off. You can lie down on your floor. You can sit in your chair. I just want you to get comfortable. And then I'll kind of stay on here a little at the end if anybody has any standing questions, but know that you can always contact any of us. I'm at Ashley@trilunawellness.com, or you can go to Elizabeth@trilunawellness.com, or Casey@trilunawellness.com, and we'll drop that over there, and feel free to contact us. Now get comfortable and relax. Everyone take a big breath in through your nose. And exhale out of the mouth. Take a moment and notice the face muscles. Notice if you're clenching in the jaw. We carry a lot of tension and stress in our cheeks and our jaws. So notice, and if so, just start to move the tongue around in circles, creating circles, loosening up the face muscles, starting to relax the body completely. Again, together, we take a big, beautiful inhale in through the nose. And exhale. Sigh it out. Again, inhale. Imagine filling up the lungs, the chest like a balloon with air. And then exhale. Sigh it out. One more of those. Inhaling, filling lungs, chest completely up like a balloon with air. And then exhale. Sigh it out, let it go. Starting to relax the body. Starting at the foundation, the base, the soles of our feet. Maybe wiggling the toes, relaxing the ankles, the legs, the knees, the thighs melt into the mat, the couch, chair. We inhale, filling up the belly. We exhale the back, the shoulders, arms, wrists, hands and fingers all relax. The neck, the throat is soft. The face is relaxed. The mind is relaxed. Together we breathe in through the nose and exhale. Allowing the mind to direct the breath. When we inhale, we feel the belly, the ribs, the chest expands with air. And then exhale, the chest, ribs, belly go in. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Again, inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. The breath starts at the foundation of the feet. It flows through each toe. It floats through the ankles, moves through the legs, flows through the knees, goes up the thighs, through the hips, filling the belly, the ribs, the chest with air. And then exhale, the back, the shoulders, the arms, wrists, hands and fingers, all relax. The air travels through the neck, the throat, through the face, relaxing the mind, relaxing the body. Take a big, beautiful inhale in, holding at the top. And we exhale, we release, we let go of all of the things that do not serve us. We release it. Again, inhale, fill up the lungs, the chest, all the way to the crown of the head and hold. And exhale, release, let go. Last breath, big, full, beautiful inhale in, holding at the top. And exhale, let it go. Bringing the right hand to the heart, the left hand on top. Take a moment in this space to honor yourself, honor this practice, for showing up for yourself, for your mental health. Knowing that any time during this time that we're in, that we can always return to the breath. Take a breath in and a soft exhale out. We at TRILUNA would like to thank you for your time and your energy in this space. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in each and every single one of you. May you be well. May you be light. May you be love. I bow to each of you. Namaste. Thank you all so very much. Again, we're TRILUNA Wellness, and we hope to see you all very soon. Have a wonderful evening, and we hope to see you on Friday. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, Bonnie.